So my new album's called The Wake. It's out today. Um, Available to stream or buy if you're that way inclined. We got vinyl. Um, yeah, it's the last of a series of records for me. It's not my last record by any stretch of the imagination. I plan to make a lot more music and do a lot more, but it's definitely the end of a cycle. You know, I set out to make 7 albums on the 30th of January 1999, and on the 30th of January 2025, I finished that seventh album. Uh, so yeah, it's an important one to me. I don't know what it means outside of that, but for me, it was good to just kind of close out a chapter. You know, I set a goal for myself and tick the box. Uh, so I'm proud of this one. On the 30th of January 1999, I was in a bar called the Jellyfish in Costa Teguise, Lanzarote, where I lived for a while. And I was making up a song on stage, as often I tried to do. And this song was all the lyrics, the only lyrics that I could hear for it in that moment were like about a thief coming in the night and about crying in the night and all about sort of heavy, morose, dark stuff or whatever. And I went home that night, and that song kind of affected me in a way that songs hadn't before. You ever played Tetris? You know when you play Tetris for like a couple of hours and then you close your eyes to go to sleep and you can see Tetris, and it keeps your mind going. It was like that. It was sort of a version of that. With just this wouldn't go away. It was accosting me and berating me all night and driving me nuts, and I was really upset and didn't know what was going on. And I woke up the next day to the news that as I was writing that song, my father had passed back here in Ireland. Um, and I don't know, man. It just everything just distilled. It distilled for a moment, and I think I realized that music was not a vehicle to get you somewhere. You know, it was a way to engage with yourself authentically. You know, in that moment, I was like, oh, I've been looking at this all wrong. So I finished that song. I heard the news about my dad that morning and went out the back and for the first time ever wrote lyrics without stopping. They just poured out. There was no need to think about what would rhyme or what would mean. It was there. What I had to say flowed. And I knew that was different. So in that moment, I was like, okay, I only want to write songs that feel like this from now on. So whatever I need to do to stay in this place and get songs like this um, that help me. And on that day, I decided I'm going to make 7 albums because my dad always used to say, give me the boy to the age of 7 and I'll give you the man. I figured, well, by 7 albums, if I want to try and be an artist that writes songs like this, it'll take at least 7 albums to figure out what that even looks like, really. So I set about it. I didn't realize it was going to take 26 years, uh, but I'm glad it did. Um, yeah, and you know what? After all was said and done, like most things, I realized as soon as I'd reached the destination that it was always about the journey. You always find that, don't you? You know, the journey, getting to where you're going is sort of more poignant and more kind of rich, and there's so much to be gleaned from that, more so than there is getting there. Getting there is just a tick and then move on. But you know what? I'm excited for what's coming next. I'm really excited. I went from feeling a little bit daunted on the day that I finished it, which was 26 years to the day of my father's death. Weirdly, finished the seventh album. Um, and I had this sense of one pleasure, deeply pleasing to my OCD nature, that it had all lined up on that day. It felt so monumental and poignant, and I left the studio feeling that, going, "Ah, oh, that's beautiful. It's done. It's done." And then I was like, "Wait, it's done. What? Like what now? What now?" But as always happens with an end, it's always a beginning, isn't it? The end of something's just a new beginning, really. Um, yeah, so it didn't take long to go from feeling a bit worried about what I was going to do next and what now to feeling, oh, everything now. Like, what do you want to do now? I don't feel tied to listen only for songs that can fit into what I'm trying to achieve with an album cycle anymore. That's done. So whatever happens now is, yeah, it's going to be as much of a surprise to me as it is to anyone else, I would have thought. You know what? It's hard to say what my dad would say now, uh, because he was very effusive. You know what I mean? If I boiled the kettle, he'd be getting my mum in to see it. Look at how our Foy boils that kettle, Jane. Look at him. Aren't they great? You know, he was very celebratory about anything. So I don't know, he'd have been beside himself with what's been happening since then. But strange as it is, it wouldn't have happened without his passing. No one ever talks about good grief because the grief's bad enough, and there's enough bad to talk about to keep you busy for the rest of your life. But there is an upside. There is an upside. There was something about his passing that polarized everything he ever taught me, everything he ever said. His words went from, oh, Dad, shut up, in my mind, to trying to remember exactly what he said and how he said it and when and what was his tone of voice and what did he really mean by that. It sort of distilled a lot of the man for me. I feel like I almost have gotten closer to him in a weird way. Strange as that may sound, the biggest blessing of my life was the biggest curse. Well, I got a big show August 15th, Custom House Square. Bonnie Bishop, John Plunkett, Joshua Burnside, Vittorio Angeloni. Yeah, real hoedown. I'm gonna be playing songs from the wake, but the idea is just to play songs from everywhere, all over the place. Just go out and have a shindig. I've been talking about this a lot the last couple of days. In about 2005, I was leaving Belfast to move to London to try and cultivate a career. I wanted to be on the mainland so as I could be close to, if a support tour come up, I could hop in the car and be in Manchester in 4.5 hours, whatever. So I moved away, and that night we had a gig. Ken Haddock and I were doing a Wednesday night in the Rotterdam bar, if you remember that bar. And everyone come down for this like farewell gig, and I'll never forget. You hear a lot of stories about people back here, like not wanting people to get too above their station, or the whole lobster scenario. They get up and then we pull them back down. I didn't. I felt the complete opposite of that, like the polar opposite. That's not represented in my experience at all. I'll never forget leaving that night. Everyone was just so encouraging. Like, go on, lad. Go on, give it a go, lad. Fair play to you. Yeah, that stands out. There was only about 200 people there, and a few of those were outside 'cause there was no room in the bar. But it was really poignant for me. I left with that, just a very positive feeling, and that's remained with me every time I come back. I feel like I'm coming back to a little bit of that. I don't think I could put into words what it means to come back and play home, but other than good, full circle or something like touching base and then going out again, and touch base and then go out again. Yeah, that's why I'm starting the tour here. Actually, I wanted to be sent out from here. The maiden voyage, like the Titanic, although hopefully not too like the Titanic. It was fine when it left us, mate, wasn't it?